All right, so you've got some data, you want to set up your project, and you want to make sure that when you do something like, say, read underscore CSV, that you can get to the appropriate file. So in this case, the file that I'm going to be looking for is going to be called wrestlingviews.txt, but I am not in the right folder. I can tell that by running getwd, which gets my working directory. Now, the kind of sloppy way to do this would be to set my working directory appropriately. In this case, I just need to go up one folder. So now I'm in my 390 folder, and that is where my data is. Now let's check really quickly to see if that works. Wrestlingviews.txt shows up. So tab autocomplete is working for me. If you aren't using tab autocomplete, you type in the first few letters of what you know you're looking for and then tab, and it fills in the rest for you. So let's see what we get. Cool. That is what I want access to. Now, let's say that you had that file in your downloads. What you really should be doing with all this stuff is you create a project to hold on to this. So let's go File, New Project, save this work. This is fine. I'm going to create a new directory for an R project. I'll make it a subdirectory of my 390 folder. So we're going to create a project after we give it a name. So let's say wrestling data. Let's just call it wrestling. It's implied that there's data involved since we're dealing with R. So R Studio rather is going to reload. And we go here and let's go ahead and use our operating system's file browser to go ahead and move that data. So our data, we want wrestling views. Let's put that into our wrestling folder. So now when we run read underscore CSV, or let's say read.csv, or wrestling dot, no, why is it not doing that? Let's just load in the tidyverse. Tidyverse. And then we do read underscore CSV for wrestling.txt, and it loads in appropriately. So the key here is recognizing that R is happening in a particular folder. The nice thing about setting up a project is you are being explicit about where that folder is. So you set up a folder for your work, and if there's data that you're dealing with, you copy that data or cut that data into the appropriate folder so that you can get to it easily. One last wrinkle, sometimes you might have a relatively big project where you want to put a bunch of things into separate subfolders just to keep it a little bit more organized. So let's go ahead and say that this is going to be script 0.r. That's my lazy naming convention. We know we want the tidyverse. And then we want our data, wrestling views, to be read underscore CSV. Now, since I've moved it, it's not going to, actually, let's see. Oh, hey, look at that. So Data Studio did something nice for us. Tab autocomplete recognized that in this data folder is the data that I want. So if I had just done without that, I said, give me that wrestling views data, it's going to say that doesn't exist in our current working directory. But when we add data to that, now we can find it with some errors that I haven't fixed, but Dan is going to fix. With that, we're able to get to the data.